Welcome to Boss Talk. My name is Julius, your host, and I got my co-host, Dominic, my right-hand man, shall I say, my wingman,
Yes,
and my
sir.
son. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, Dominic, what's up?
I'm doing good, man.
All right.
How about you guys? How you doing? Everybody doing good?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good, man. And for our host today, for our guest today, we got Maura, the owner of
Wounded Haven Counseling.
Wounded Haven Counseling. Yeah, thanks for taking the time to come in. All right, Dom. Why don't you get Maura a little comfortable? Let's get to know her a little bit.
Okay. So I do want to address that we are having some technical difficulties right now with our mics. Like my dad said, it works until it doesn't work. But I want to ask more some icebreaker questions. Just the first one: what is your go-to comfort food or coffee order?
Coffee is either a vanilla latte, extra hot. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's got to be extra hot if I'm going to drink hot coffee.
Okay.
And then I've always loved noodles. So growing up, my mom would make noodles and sauce, and pretty simple, but that would be my go-to food. Yeah.
I like that. Okay. What is your hidden talent?
Jeez. I like to believe that I can sing.
Oh, we got to hear you sing now.
Oh, gosh. No. Last Tuesday, I lost my voice completely, but I would like to believe I can sing a little bit, at least sometimes around my family, at least.
Just around family?
Around family. Yeah, I used to sing in high school, but yeah.
You do a little.
I can. I literally, you heard me when we were testing it. I was like squeaky.
Okay, no, we'll give you a pass.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm also really good. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't know if that's going to be one of your questions. I'm really good at removing stickers from things. So stickers that are on everything, every piece of merchandise, I get that thing off in one piece.
Windows gets hard.
Yep. I got my Goo Gone and we go. Yeah.
All right, last question. What's one thing on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
I would like to travel to New York City and walk everywhere and try different coffee shops, restaurants, see the park. Yeah, that's on my bucket list for sure. I've been a lot of places, but not New York City.
Yeah, but why New York City? Just curious.
I've liked a lot of movies and shows that show it. There's just an appeal, I think, to the liveliness of the city that apparently doesn't sleep. And I think growing up in a small town that's quiet, it's just a nice place to go get a little taste of and then come back to the quiet. So I loved Chicago. So yeah, I'm picturing a bigger Chicago. Yeah. So if I love Chicago, there's a good chance I'll probably love.
Yeah, we love Chicago too. It's my favorite. I think my wife and I, we enjoyed our time there.
Yeah.
Last time we went there.
Yeah.
Very beautiful city.
Yeah.
Awesome, Dom. Hey, man, we made it through, man. No, thank you, Maura, for being flexible and given the technical issues that we're having this morning. But it's all good. We're gonna make it work.
Exactly.
All right. So we're gonna transition, and we want to talk about Wounded Haven Counseling. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, so I opened the doors in 2020, fall of 2020. So we were in the midst of the pandemic, still doing a lot of separation. And really, I had this vision I didn't even know was what I wanted to do because I'd worked for a couple other agencies. And it was all through billing insurance. So we would work with insurances to pay for mental health services. And I was finding a large frustration with the expectations that kept changing within the insurance world, that we will reimburse for this, and then all of a sudden, just kidding, we're not going to pay for that. And then the agency had to just pay back that money when the insurance company said, pay this back. And that could be in thousands of dollars. And so I didn't like that you felt like you figured out what their rules were, and then they could just change it, and that they didn't know the people, right? So the people making these decisions had no idea about clients, had no background really in mental health, but they were making the decisions about how we did our job. So then I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a chance because I can. And if it doesn't work out, I can always go back to the insurance world. But I opened my doors as a private pay only practice. So people pay out of pocket and insurance is not involved at all. So if a client wants to come twice a week, they can. If they want to come 5 times, they can. We get to make those decisions together.
No, that's good. So before that, can you just walk us through your educational background in this space a little bit so we can get a good understanding of like how you got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I went to St. Ben's for my undergrad, and I actually graduated there in 3 years because it was so expensive. So I tried to figure out how I can get done a little faster. So then after 3 years at St. Ben's I graduated with a psychology degree. I went to MSU Mankato and got my master's degree in mental health counseling. And it's a long process that I don't know a lot of people think about how long it takes to become a licensed therapist. Is during your second year of, you can make it a 2-year program. Some people extend it a little bit. You do an internship. And then I was hired after that. And then you have to do 2 more years of gaining hours before you become licensed. So
Wow.
technically, if I wouldn't have graduated early, it would be 4 years undergrad, 2 years in grad school, 2 more years to be fully licensed. So 8 years total. That's a long time, and I don't think a lot of people know that's how long therapists go.
So being a therapist is like a big umbrella. So how did you pick your area of focus?
Yeah.
That is now your business.
Yes.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and the reason I chose that license was because a lot of the therapists that were at my first internship site were their LMS, and I love the consideration of a family system that marriage and family therapists take into account of how we become who we are has so much to do with who we're around and how we're raised, and whether it's biological components or just the environmental components, all of it. I loved that systems work, and then that's why adults are the way they are too. And so understanding all of that, which is why I chose marriage and family therapy.
So marriage and family therapist, that's kind of like your main thing.
Yeah.
But are you also doing other things outside of that?
Yeah. So we can see individuals, and honestly, a lot of my clients are individual clients. I'm also a board approved supervisor. So that took additional training and certification to become a board approved supervisor, which means I can work with interns and I can work with pre-licensed clinicians to help them get their hours so that they can become independently licensed. So I do that as well. And I have different populations that I like to work with.
Have you had any internships yet, or?
No. So that's another thing that we'll talk about office space for was I have a single office right now, and my license says that when there's someone that's not fully licensed working with clients, I have to be in the building. And so it has to be at least a 2 office space, or I'm literally in the room with someone who doesn't have a license, just as supervisory oversight. So someday, maybe in the very near future, I will be taking interns, and because I have been contacted by Bethany MSU to be an internship site, and I've always had to say no,
just because of
the space,
the availability, and everything.
Yep.
No, that's really cool. No, I'm very intrigued, man. Man, like I said, man, I'm ready for this because I really want to understand your world a little bit.
Yeah.
So mental health is a very unique field, and there's a lot of stigma in this field as well. Just generally speaking, before we get into the business and everything, why do you think there's such a stigma in this, or just such a stigma with mental health?
Yeah. I think because honestly, when mental health became a thing to even talk about, and yes, insurance changed a lot of it, but it was to be more of like a proactive thing. You're having a rough time, let's help it be better. Insurance companies came in and said, you have to be really ill in order for us to provide a service. So then they linked being really ill with mental health instead of it being like you could be fit and still go to the gym, right? It's about maintenance. It's about all of that. That's what it was supposed to be. But then the wires got crossed of you have to be really ill, sick. And then you get movies putting out like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and different things that have severe and persistent mental illness. And it all became that versus just people trying to make their life better.
So that's interesting that the insurance can really dictate the kind of treatment that you get.
Everything.
And what I'm hearing you say is your service is more of a, you know what, if Dominic comes in for whatever reason, you can customize a plan, take a proactive approach before things get worse.
And no diagnosis is needed.
Is needed. Yep. Man, that more powers to you.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So let's talk about the business a little bit. So obviously getting your license, being certified, making sure that you can provide the service is one thing, but there's a business component to it.
Mm-hmm.
Going into the field, like what surprised you between, I got all this knowledge, I can help a lot of people, but the business component of it is another thing. So how did you balance those two things?
Yeah. Fully disclosed, I have ADHD, and that got worse after having children because it's so hormone driven. But that was and still is a really hard part of this that I'm happy to delegate to my bookkeeper, to my accountant, to my retirement guy, that I delegate as much of that to those people being the experts and trusting them with my business baby that is Wounded Haven. And so learning how taxes work, learning how much to save, how to budget when I want to grow, having to consider a budget for a new space. And then I got to fill that space. And then I got to get this person to get clients. And that's where it becomes, it's not just me anymore, right? So the business part of all of that was really just trusting people and networking. Like when I started, I had to network to figure out how to get my LLC, to then get a bank account, to then I was never really honestly worried about my market because I had so many people that followed me from the agencies that I previously worked at because there was not a non-compete signed, so they can do that. So I wasn't completely worried. This is a great question because I wasn't so worried about people coming in initially as I was about like, will this be okay? Will I be able to sustain this in terms of doing it right, doing it ethical, doing it legal, doing it all that way? And I'm also a manifester, so I just trusted that if I get all these foundational pieces set up with the other experts in these areas, I'll be okay that way.
Yeah, no, that's a very important point. And let me talk. So I talk to a lot of business owners. I do this for a living. One of the things I do is I engage with business owners every single day. And what you just shared right there just really resonated with me in a different way because a lot of business owners are passionate about the business that they're in.
Yes.
But a lot of times they don't know the other side of it, that being doing what you do is one thing, but really understanding everything that it takes to make it work. You may not be skilled in those areas, and it's important to have the right resources around you. It sounds like that's exactly what you did. And being okay with it. Hey, I don't know how to do this.
For sure.
I need an accountant. I need
Absolutely.
Whoever you need to make sure that they can cover your blind side so you can focus on doing what you do best, right? Which is counseling and everything. So no, that's really cool. So initially starting the business, it's always a challenge. That first year, let's talk about it. Because you know what?
Yeah, the first year,
7 out of 10 business owners, they go out.
I saw that. You said that in the first, yeah.
And I'm gonna keep repeating it. 7 out of 10, they go out completely. And the reason, and for so many different reasons, but they go out. The struggle the first year is tough. The second year might get a little better, but it's still tough. But let's talk about that first year. What were some of your initial challenges?
Yeah, so I think what also helped was I followed all the protocols that were going on at that time during COVID, but I also knew that my office was so private that the in and out contact would be so limited. So then we allowed, when someone came in, you got to take your mask off, you got to sit. I have a big office, so we got to sit far from each other. And that was really a human connection point when the rest of the world was still staying pretty far away. So I think that helped too. I also had my first child within the first year of business. And so I think that was just another risk that I didn't even know I was going to take because then I'm the only one bringing income in for my business, right? So I go on maternity leave, the business stops for that many months, right? So as I'm talking about this now, I'm like, yep, my business wasn't even open for a full year and I was on maternity leave. But yeah, it's so interesting that I'm sure I was really nervous that first year. And I can remember standing in my office being like, will I be okay? Trusting that I'll be okay. And I'd put that out there. And then literally within 24 hours, I'd have 3 calls from Psychology Today with people looking for services. So I'm a believer that you put out there what you want and that is what you get back to, right? So don't waste time saying, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this. Put out there saying, I have a successful vision. I have people around me that I love and will support me. I will be okay. I will be okay. And that seems to be working almost 6 years in.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, because that right there could have stopped a lot of people,
Yeah.
but you kept going
Yeah.
because your vision was strong, right? So thinking about your clients, just initially, as far as I'm just going back to that first year, because it's a very tricky time,
Yeah.
right? Client acquisition is always something that is difficult. So where did you network to get your initial clients besides, where did you get your clients and stuff?
So initially, I'm no longer on there. You create a profile on Psychology Today, which is just a monthly subscription, basically, that when you type in therapists in Mankato, Psychology Today will be one of the first forums that will pop up as an option. A lot of it too was just word of mouth. So a lot of my clients have come to me because current clients tell them about me, or it's family members, and I work with kids. So I might start working with the kid, and then they do well, and then the parents are like, I have really enjoyed this and I have a relationship with you. I want to stay here. And once people find that safe place, they don't love to move outside of it. They love the direct contact with me. So when someone calls the number listed on my website, that's me, right? You're not going to get an admin person that's going to transfer you to another person. It's directly to me. Wow. So that cuts overhead out, as well as makes people a little bit happier because they don't have to jump through a million hoops.
You're talking to the main person.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Do you find like your repeat business is tricky? How do you know who fits your services?
Yeah. Sometimes you don't know until you're in it.
You tell them and go, not you.
So I don't do it that way. You have to remain very ethical, and you don't traumatize them more. But you do have to say, is my scope of practice going to help you? And is what I can do what is best suited for you? And sometimes it's not. Yeah. It's human working with human. It's a different kind of skill that you can't hook up to a machine and see. It's not a tool you can see, like a surgeon going in and doing all of that. They don't really have to have any type of true relationship with who they're doing surgery on, and they can still do a phenomenal job. Therapy is you have to feel emotionally safe to even do the work with the person. And so, but it's two ways, right? If I don't feel safe, I'm not going to be my best self for that person. And so you really have to know and keep a note of, is this something that I need to lean into and work on myself? Or is this something that I know is such a core value to me? I need to help this person get what they need, and it's not me.
Wow. Yeah. And I think that is so important, because I think when you keep the human at the center of your decision making, you always make the right decision.
Yeah.
And I think in your field, it is so important, because when you don't want the business to take over, we want to stay grounded. Okay, this is a human, right? And they need help.
Yes.
I am not the perfect person to provide that help and everything.
Yep.
So super cool. Yeah, no. So let's talk a little bit about what has surprised you the most about this field that you going into that you did not know.
I think we all joke at one point or another about having a class be, can I swear on here?
A little bit.
Crap they don't teach you in grad school. A different word for crap.
That
would be the name of the class. And one of the things would be the burnout rate, that many of us are empaths. So we feel and we care very deeply about people. And so when you're carrying hundreds of stories in your mind and in your body of all the years of lives that people have lived, that is heavy. And so really being sure to take care of ourselves. You can read about burnout and you can know it's real. And then when it's happening, it's like, ooh, what am I going to do about this? Because I still care about them and I'm losing myself in the process. So it's got to keep yourself in check.
That goes back to the question that Dominic wanted me to ask you. He said, can you ask her, like, how do you take care of yourself?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. Yeah.
One of my questions was, you help navigate through family and marriage, problems. And I just want to, who take care of the therapist? So what are some ways that you navigate and deal with your problems?
Therapy is one of them. So yes, therapists have therapists.
So you go to another therapist?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. And the hard thing about therapists doing therapy with another therapist is you don't want to find somebody who's the therapist that I would go see to say, but I'm here as the client now. So talk to me like I don't know. Talk to me like I don't know the modality that could be used, right? Because the whole point of going is to take that hat off and show up as Maura, not Maura the therapist. Yep. So that's been kind of tricky. And honestly, the best support I've had on this side is consultation and other clinicians that I've worked with. That's cool. So that's probably, and maybe this will be a question you ask, but that's probably the thing I truly miss the most is having other clinicians with me. So being able to, maybe I have a tough session of bopping into the office next to me and being like, oh, this just happened and I'm not sure I handled it, or what would you do with this? And just feeling very supported and grounded. That's probably the most isolating thing about what I do.
Yeah. No, that is so important that you take care of yourself. Because I have a doctor friend that was I got fortunate that he did my spine surgery, a couple of years ago. And he shared with me that I was his last client. He stayed just to make sure he did my surgery. But part of the reason why he was leaving to go start his own or join another practice somewhere was for the reason that you just said. He just said he just got so traumatized by because when you're in a small town, a lot of the clients that they get is from, and it's unpredictable. It's not, hey, you're talking to Julius, then, hey, I got a bad back, then we schedule something, you know what to expect, and you can prepare yourself. So it's just everything is, 80% of the clients coming through the ER to them. So they're seeing all this stuff. So he just wanted to get away because of the burnout and just everything that he was seeing. And so I never saw it from that perspective. Damn, that was good. That was a good one. Thanks who takes care of the therapist? Because like you said, your brain is taking in a lot of information. It's storing a lot of stuff. You don't know when you're going to need or use those information unless somebody triggers it, but it is storing a lot. So it's good that you take time to take care of yourself.
And another thing that I will say is having a supportive spouse has been a game changer, because he was with me, my husband was with me at the beginning, and being able to go home to somebody that isn't gonna pressure you for information, but is gonna ask enough questions to show that they care, to take on tasks around the house when the shift is needed. It makes me feel for clinicians that go home to no one. Those are the ones that I think about too. So having my spouse has really helped.
Good. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And shout out to the spouse.
Shout out Kent.
Kent. She had to go there, man. We didn't ask her to do that, all right? If you're listening, Kent, she had to go there. She loves you, man.
I do.
All right. Awesome. Actually, it's really been inspiring to see his journey as well. I'm not going to go into detail, but I kind of know, to see his journey and how he's evolved. And I think you've posted some stuff on social media. Anybody wants to go to your site and look, they can, but I'm not going to speak about it.
Yep.
But it's always, I'm so fascinated by how we just evolve as time goes on. So that's really cool. Let's talk a little about your approach. Okay. With your clients. Okay. That's the part where I'm really intrigued about. So how do you build rapport with your client to the point where they feel comfortable being so vulnerable with you? Because then when you answer that question, I also want you to think about, is it easier for women than men? And because men sometimes have their guard up, they want to say, give you just a little bit, but not everything, right? Yeah. How do you do that?
It's different in what that person is walking in with. If they've been to therapy before, it's a little different. But if it was a bad experience, then they're carrying that too. I really value that the more you get in my office is the same you will see if you run into me in the grocery store, that I will laugh with you, I will cry with you, I will swear with you, I will do all of those things to match whatever the client is needing. I also am not there taking note and looking behind a computer in a way that could feel judgmental. I am sitting comfortably with my clients to make it just feel like you're talking to a friend who maybe has a little bit of education and training in this area, but I pay attention a great deal to nonverbals. And so if a man walks in and is very quiet or doesn't want to look at me in the eye or talks really fast. All of that is part of the anxiety that's there. Or maybe he's never been to therapy before. Maybe he feels emasculated coming in and talking. But when I work with young kids, I do see a lot of young little boys. And so I think that's a great way to start changing kind of this idea. And I often tell dads, if you're afraid to come in here, why would your child come in here? So as you're telling your little boy, oh, just do this, just go, but you're not going. Kids are looking, kids are watching. So setting that example. I have 2 sons. And so I say that a lot to my husband about they're watching me, but they're really watching you. And so I think that's a little bit of a generational cycle breaking aspect that I'm trying to accomplish. But building rapport it has gotten easier over time. I've gotten far less rigid once I've left the insurance world, that it's just, what are you here for? And what do you want to work on? And yeah. And then you build the relationship over time with no specific timeline.
So what's your client mix look like? Do you have more, if you were to break it down, is it a third kids, women, men?
I would say probably I see mostly women, mostly adult women. And then the next biggest category would be children. And then the smallest category would probably be men.
Why do you think so? Because I think,
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, how do we break the cycle I know it's gotten better where men are open to talking and getting their help, the psychological help that they need and all that kind of stuff. But why do you think it's still like that?
I think it's still, and maybe you guys have this experience, but that idea of being weak, that we can't, asking for help means either you're stupid or you're weak or you're not smart enough to figure it out on your own. Culturally, whatever your family did is probably, unless you do it different, is what you're going to do, right? So it wasn't until 1970 something that children's feelings were even considered a thing. So I don't know, but my parents were born in the 50s. So then the chance of feelings and different things being talked about in their childhood wasn't a thing. And then now they're raising kids, and it really wasn't a thing when I was a kid either. So we have to start gaining this exposure someplace. And if people don't, they're going to keep doing what they do. And so if my dad and that grandpa and the grandpa and grandpa never talked about feelings and sat at the table and said, man, today was a rough day. Yeah, what do you need? It's more like, today was a rough day. Yeah, pull yourself up from your bootstraps and start again tomorrow. That's the mentality. So
you talking about those, I've gotten so much better because my mentality was, man, why are you crying? Get your butt up. I just remember those conversations, but now I've learned to take a different approach and everything. So if you were to give an advice to the men out there, and if you're listening, okay, she's the expert. She gets this stuff inside and out. So if you were to tell the world, what do you want men to give them advice about why it's so important that they seek help for their mental health?
I think because the world we live in, men do hold a different kind of power. And as much as that hurts my feminist heart to say, it is the truth, right? And we do need men who have a higher emotional intelligence to be running businesses, running the world, doing all of that, because that will make the world better. And so when I say emotional intelligence, that's that awareness of how you might be being perceived, how you are around others. If someone shifts in their seat, just being like, I noticed that and I'm aware of it. If I hurt someone's feelings, I'm going to know what's the thing to do. Oh, it's to apologize. It's not to double down. Correct. It's to apologize. But what's more important than just I'm sorry is the accountability and the change. Yeah. And that doesn't make you weak. Right. That actually makes you so much better.
Yeah, that's a good point, because in my world, from a leadership standpoint, all the leaders I've ever that have had a bigger impact on me, they were honest with me, but they were also compassionate.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that just motivated me more than anything to want to do the best I can, just because of they do it compassion. They say what they mean, but without being mean. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? So that really, so if you're a man out there, man, if you're struggling, if you're struggling, just talk to somebody.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dom?
So I'm just thinking, one of my favorite quotes of all time is, "You sleep in the bed you make." And that's something that really motivates me to get up every day and try my hardest to just go at it. And what is something, when people are going through it hard, like hard times, what is something you would tell them just to keep repeating in their head so they can get through those times? Or what is something that you have personally went through and you had said to yourself that, oh, I gotta do this. Just quotes and those lines. It could be a lyric. It could be something like that you just repeat it in your head and it just get you through those times.
Yeah. Something that I say often is, it won't feel like this forever. And so, and I don't say it's okay, right? I say it will be okay. And the reason I say it won't feel like this forever, I'm not saying it's not going to feel worse at some point. I'm not going to say that there's not going to be an ebb and flow to all of this, but whatever that feeling is, if it's really awful, I know it won't feel like this forever. So I say that to myself and I say that to others. And sometimes I find myself after not feeling good about something being like, just get to tomorrow. Yeah. Just get to tomorrow because I know it won't feel like this tomorrow.
Yeah. Emotions are temporary.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
It's such a short-term thing.
Yes.
So that's cool. Oh, that was good, Dom. That was a little good, thoughtful question, man. That's why you my wingman. I got the perfect wingman.
I got a tattoo. Like it means it's like a footstep, baby footsteps, and it actually means like one foot in front of another. It relates to like day by day. Like things are gonna get better eventually. So I really do like that.
That's cool.
And about baby footsteps, people say, take baby steps when you start. And we gotta also consider, have you ever watched a baby learn how to start walking? They're working so hard.
Oh, yeah.
And then what happens? They fall. And then they work so hard to get back up, right? So baby steps are really big steps too. And I think even considering of how hard that baby has to work to finally figure out how to find its footing, it's by not giving up. It's by continuing to go. It's by having some bumps and bruises along the way. But once they get that figured out, man, they just are off.
I remember when he took his first baby steps. It was like I won the Super Bowl.
It is.
I was like, yes!
You feel so proud.
I was like one of the proudest moments.
Yep.
Because I know he was trying, he was stumbling forward,
Yep.
and you could see the little frustration.
Where was I?
Huh?
Where was I?
Oh, where were you at? We were still at an apartment. We were still living in the apartments, bro. The one bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. So, no, really cool. So, I got a couple more questions. 'Cause I'm always thinking, in my mind, what does success look like for anything that I do, right?
Yeah.
So, in your world, being a therapist, like, how do you know that you've been successful if that plan was a success? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know that?
It's really interesting because none of my success ever really comes in monetary form. Obviously, we have to keep a roof over our head. We have to pay the bills. But it's when I get a text message or an email from someone that says, you've changed my life, or I wouldn't be where I am today without you, or these are where I can get emotional, is really thinking about like those, I call them like the warm fuzzy moments, because there are less verbal of those than moments where I'm questioning what the heck I'm doing. So when I get those, I don't know if my clients know how much that means to me when they say, you've changed my life, because I obviously can see that in a progress form, but they're the ones living it every day to know how vastly different their life feels to them.
Yeah. And just speaking of that, I could tell you get a little, you tear up a little bit on that. But speaking of that, I think that is so important because it's not about quantifying anything. It's just those validation, knowing that you're doing quality work and it's having a positive impact on the person that you're trying to help, whatever the help may look like. Do you have any, without saying any names or anything like that, is there a specific story that sticks out to you that you can share that really made you go, wow, this is why I'm in this business?
Yeah. I've been contacted on my business Facebook page by people that I would have started with, kids I would have started with, telling me where they're at in life. And that's a great moment. And I joke with my kids and teens now about find me in 10 years and tell me where you're, what's going on with you. Those are really exceptional, and I hold those dear. If someone comes to me and I'm really thinking we're going to have to really work in order for this person to stay on this planet, and I have very little say or control in that. And so when they're still here, and when it appears that I would say that they're thriving in comparison, that sticks with me. I thought, oh my gosh, am I going to wake up to a text or call one day? Or those are the things that really stick with me of they had every option to not be here and they still are.
Yeah. Woof. And man, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are going through it. And I think success is different for everybody. It's very subjective, right? It's about the progress and how you're thinking, right? Oh, I want to be here. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
When you go from I don't want to be here to, you know what? I want to be here and fight through this. That is progress. And that deserves to be celebrated as well for so many different reasons and everything. Cool. So when you think about your brand, what do you want? What is that one word or two that you want people to say when they hear about your practice?
Yep.
When they hear Wounded Haven Counseling,
Yeah.
what do you want them to say?
Authentic. Yeah. That you're getting what you hear about. That's what I want. And it's authentic for them. It's authentic with me. That it's all around congruent in that. It is what I say it is, and it is what they want it to be.
Wow. Yeah. So that's the brand right there.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to the first thing that you said. You said you don't take notes. You don't have any computers. You just right here with the person talking and everything. Because yeah, that's your brand right there, right?
Yep.
So holding that together, very important. So let's kind of fast forward to 2026. Man, you've been in business 6 years already?
It'll be 6 years in the fall. Yep.
So now you're on cruise control? Or are there, I know that.
Where are we?
So what are your aspirations now?
Yeah. I think knowing that I'm done having kids is different in terms of my professional vision. I am hoping that sometime soon I will be able to grow and do more supervision, maybe hire some folks pre-licensed. And another thing that I dream about with that is if they start with me and they fly away, like what a secure relationship that is. That they start, they learn, they grow, much like parents and kids, and then they go and become their most independent self. I think that is the making of a really great supervisor and leader, is trusting that the ripple has been made and now they're going to go out and continue their ripple in the world and what we both have worked so hard to do. So I envision maybe some of that. I would love to do some groups.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so a lot of people who don't frequent bars struggle sometimes to make friends. And so being able to put together groups in terms of just having other people to talk to, picking a theme when they're together, women's groups or men's groups, I think could be something that could be really helpful and foundational for relationship building for people. And since I'm in the business of relationships, that would be really cool for me. And I just picture women, it's like pay as you go and pay as you can. And you sit around and we pick a theme out of a hat and it's what we talk about. Or, hey, how has everybody's week been? Anybody feel like you just need tonight to just share? And then you just work on different ways of responding and providing support that they can then practice outside of that group, right? So let's say someone answers in a really cool way. I would say to them, like, that was so insightful. What a great way to ask that question. Because then they're going to know, that was a great way to ask that question. Now I'm going to do that at work tomorrow.
Exactly.
Or I'm going to do that at home tonight. So I talk a lot about a ripple, that our ripple matters. And it might seem small, but you just watch that thing just go.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I think a lot of people will benefit with your growth since your kids are locked in, Kent is locked in for life. You're not going anywhere, buddy. Because she got some growth. She wants to grow. And growth for me, it means more people get help as well, right? Is this like when you think about Mankato, I know you serve Mankato, North Mankato, and you serve clients virtually as well, all over the state. do you see that virtual thing being like more like a main source of client, or is it kind of, because I'm just thinking like things are changing, right? Like
Yeah.
technology is like changing
Yeah.
everything, right? And I'm just thinking, if you want to scale and reach more people, how do you promote yourself? Are you doing any promotions right now?
I'm really not good at advertising. That is one area that I've been asked to be on KUIC a couple times, and like,
And you picked us.
I was like, this will be
KYC,
great.
you ain't got nothing on us. Because she's here. She could be anywhere in the world right now talking about her business. And she's right here right now. KYC, I don't know, man. We got I don't know what we got, but she's here.
No.
But anyways, go ahead.
No, and so that is an area that I'm not good at. And so I don't really advertise anywhere but on Facebook or by word of mouth. Virtually, it's an option, and it works for people that want to see me that are not within the area. And some therapists are only virtual, right? They don't have an office that they go to, and they get to do it from their home, and they love that. I love a hybrid version. I like that I get to have some virtual clients, and especially in the winter, it's been great that if it's snowing and I don't need to drive and they don't need to drive, we can still do it. But there's still something to be said about in person.
Yeah, in person you can't.
Yeah, it's just an energy.
Yeah, the energy is different and everything. So, no, that's really good. So, I know we've talked a lot about a lot of different things. Is there anything you want to share that we haven't discussed with the public that is important to you?
Yeah.
When you think about what you do and who you serve and the industry and everything?
I think that initially when people hear private pay, they think, oh my gosh, how much is that going to cost? And now I'm not minimizing how hard the economics are right now for people. I'm very aware of that. And there's also something to be said about if people have high deductible insurance plans, we have fairly good insurance and we still have a $6,000 family. Yeah, max. And so if someone is looking to utilize what they have a higher deductible, they may never meet that. And my service will still be less expensive than what an insurance company is going to bill. So that being said, if someone is working with a contractor with insurance and they see a therapist for an hour, it's whatever that contracted rate is. But let's say that they've negotiated with Blue Cross Blue Shield, we'll pay you, we'll reimburse you. You send a bill to us for $200, we'll reimburse you $100. So by the time that $100 comes in, now you have to remove rent, liability insurance, trainings, all of that from that. And so it really becomes so much less than what that is. So in the private pay world, I know that the skin in the game is people's money leaving their pocket when they see me. But there's also a science to that.
Yep.
People have more investment when they see a bill, when they see their money, when they, say, if you have a gym membership and you're paying a private trainer, and that trainer comes in and they're like, I'm just so tired today.
Yep.
You're like, but I'm paying you. I'm here for my session. And they're like, yeah,
you better rise up.
You got this. Just go figure it out. Yeah. That's different than someone that comes in and says, this hour matters. Let's make this work. What do you want this to be? What do you want to work on today? And you do it together, and there's skin in the game that way.
Yeah. And I think private pay, to be honest, in my opinion, I think, because I'm older now, and one of the things that I've learned is do not let the insurance company dictate your treatment. Otherwise, things will get really bad, and it's going to cost you more money. If you can intervene, it could be going to a therapist or going to anything, right? I'm getting soft wave treatment right now in my shoulder. My insurance doesn't cover it, but I'm feeling better. I could do this now, like whatever. So I just know that it took me a while to understand that, because you're thinking, hey, how much is this going to cost me or whatever? But when you really sit back and say, you know what? I don't want this to get bad before I get the help, because insurance wants it to be really bad before they step in. And by the time they step in, you'll be in a bad shape. And insurance is tricky. I don't want to say nothing negative about any company out there, but they're not my they're not on my top 10 favorite
Mm-mm.
businesses. Okay, as far as just not so much the company, but just the practice, because I've gone through it as well, and I know how difficult it was for me when I had my spine surgery. Oh, you are approved, you are not approved, you are this, you are not. I'm like, what's going on? Nobody cared
You're already
about me.
stressed.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
already stressed. And for your wall, where you're trying to help people psychologically feel better and everything, for whatever it's worth, just invest in yourself, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the time and invest. So, to close it out, what's your Facebook? Tell the world.
Yeah, Wounded Haven Counseling on Facebook. The same with the website is www.woundedhavencounseling, and that's where you can find me. The number there is directly to me. You can call it, you can text it, you can send an email. I'm pretty low key that way to get in touch with.
Where are you located at?
I'm located in Lower North, Pierce Plaza.
Okay.
Yeah, just off of 169 right down there, and a little bit industrial, but it's quiet. You walk in the door, go right down the steps. There's my office. It's very peaceful.
Very peaceful.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was fantastic. Thank you, Maura, for taking the time to go through this. We learned a lot today, and I wish people could hear you more. And I honestly want to say I am super proud of the progress you've made, because I know how hard it can be being a mom, starting a business, going through the ups and downs of it. Because you guys think about insurance, they don't pay you right away. It's about 30 to 60 days, right? If they're going to pay you at all, right? Then you think about cash flow, because you got to think about it, man. As a small business owner, cash flow is, you got to understand cash flow. You got your receivables, you got your payables, then you got the service or the goods that you sell or you provide.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes your payables, you got to pay your rent. You got to pay the electricity. You got to pay whatever you got to do. But sometimes it takes time for you to get your money in. And insurance doesn't make it any easier. So she's in a very difficult job, and she's survived it. She's figured it out. And now she's thriving, and she's even thinking about growing. And I'm going to give her a little plug. I'm going to give a little plug out there to all the students in the future looking for internships. If you want to be a therapist, you want someone that is qualified, you say certified, what else? Intelligent,
Understandable,
compassionate,
smart.
Yeah. If you want someone, right, that will walk you through, not right now, because she ain't ready right now, but in the near future, she's going to be a great resource. We need more therapists, and she'll be a great person to learn from as she's trying to expand and grow her business. Dom, before we conclude this session, any words of wisdom, anything on your mind?
Oh no, just hearing Maura talk, I can't help but highly recommend her for any type of therapist questions, or if you have any things that you just want to have somebody talk to, anything on your mind. I think Maura, or I know Maura, just by hearing her talk, is a very good resource to use. But
and how about kids your age, man? Like just young kids. Tell them.
Yeah, I mean,
because y'all kind of stubborn. You think y'all think you got it all figured out.
Yeah, it's a.
But you guys be going through it.
Look, we got it all figured out. Look, trust. We gonna find a way. We're gonna find a way, just like you guys did. So we're not different, but we're different. So yeah, when we're young, we've got a lot of things on our mind. We want to accomplish a lot of things quick. We want to get there right away, but good things take time. We just gotta be patient. And sometimes being patient it gets to you a lot. So you just gotta. If you want to talk to somebody, just talk to somebody. That's the best way, just to talk about your feelings. Don't hold it in, because once you just hold it in, it's just going to lead to bad decisions. You're not thinking 100%. You're just, you're not thinking, what is the word? You're acting with emotions. You're not going to be in 100% mental state where you want to be at. So just talk to somebody, get off your chest, whether it's your mom, your dad, a therapist, your brother, a friend. Just get off your chest, man. Just don't hold it in.
Don't hold anything in. Talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be a professional.
Yeah.
But as long as you express it, you just feel a little better. And like she said, emotions are you said it better. I think your line was
temporary, and it won't feel like this forever.
Exactly.
Temporary. Your emotions and feelings are temporary. It will not feel like this forever.
Yeah.
I'm walking away with that.
But before you conclude, I want you guys to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Boss Talk 80. We'll post full episodes on YouTube and Facebook. We're also on YouTube too, Boss Talk 80. Excuse me. Facebook is Boss Talk, and then Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube is Boss Talk 80. So that's where you'll find most of the Instagram and TikTok and Facebook clips. I'll post out little 30-second clips per guest. You'll find them on those social media handles, and then you'll also find the full episodes only on Facebook and YouTube. So definitely tune in. This one's gonna be crazy, and it's gonna be very informational. You guys are gonna learn a lot. So I definitely want you guys to tap in with that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good plug, and I would just add that that's how you support us, because we want to bring you good content, things that are informational, things that you can listen and walk away with something. And like I said, our objective is really simple. We want to talk to all the bosses in Mankato and even in the state or anywhere. If you're a boss and you have a success story, we're going to do our research on you. We're going to ask you some really good questions, like I always say, because we want to make sure we highlight all the beautiful things that are happening for us in Mankato. The world is changing where, you know what, you got 1% of the population that drives the narrative, and a lot of times people gravitate towards negativity and all that. Not us. We are bosses. You know, not us. We want to focus on highlighting things that we feel or think will make your life better. So support us. Follow us. When we post, share with your friends and family. We're gonna have guests from all walks of life, different businesses. We're gonna have athletes, bank executives, everybody. They're all gonna come sit down right here.
Yep.
No, KYC, you might be a little jealous. You might be a little jealous that we got her and you didn't, but we love you either way, okay?
Yep. Thanks.
And that concludes this episode of Boss Talk.
And Boss Talk. Thank you, Maura. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you guys.
All right.